be love. Don't just give love. So, like the Bible, I'm a Christian, and the Bible says God is love. And for me, it was always like, I'm giving you the best years of my life. I'm giving. And then when I became a mom, I really understood that. Like, it just is. Like, it's not even something I give. It's just my love for my daughter just is. It's a thing. Like, it's never something that will go away or lessen. It just is. It's always there. It's always something she can reach for. It just is there. And that's how I try and go through everything. Just being love, radiating it. You know, uh, just just being an energy, this beautiful energy of love, and stop trying to pass it out. So you can express your love in ways, um, but it's not something to be given. It's just something you are. It's just something you radiate. So yeah, be love. Be love, people. Don't give it. And I put question mark. Real love doesn't die. Uh, it always is, and that's how you know when love is genuine. I personally feel like it just doesn't go anywhere. It always something you can come back to, no matter what happens. It just picks up. It is what it is. I don't know. I have to continue to live that one. Number 11, always take the high road, even if it feels weak or low. I think Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. It's kind of the same concept. It feels weak in the moment, you feel timid, but in the long run, it is just so worth it. Don't stoop down to that level. Um, and that kind of goes into number 16, which is let go of revenge. I said, why get even with something that you don't like? Like, when something hurts you and something's negative and something's bad, when you try and get revenge with that, you put yourself on equal footing with it. That negativity, you have to become the negative to get even with that. And it's just so destructive. So much of my time, so much of who I was got eaten up by this. He hurt me. I'm going to have to get him back. And it's like, no, let it go. Let it go. What was the next one? People don't have to know. So for me, this was a big thing. Like, it was kind of like my ego was just so crazy. It was all ego. Like, people need to know. Like, if you hurt me, if you did me dirty, people need to know. People need to know. People need to know this exists. This exists, and that's how we are now, right? Like, everything is out there on social media. Like, everything is out there all the time. People need to know. People need to know. You're no good. People need to know. Now, like, get too detailed about this, but I just wanted, like, you need to tell them. You need to tell this person about this. You need to tell them that. People need to know we go out. People need to know this. No, they don't. Privacy, not secrecy. So that goes into say. This is kind of like some things I've learned from reading Brene Brown and learning about shame and vulnerability and intimacy, but privacy, not secrecy. Secrecy. This is my own thing. But sometimes people like to say everybody keeps secrets. I don't necessarily believe that's true. I don't. I feel like I'm at a point right now where I don't have secrets. I have things I keep private because people don't need to know. It's not their business. But just because something is private doesn't mean it's a secret. Like, there's nothing in my life, thank God, at this moment. There's nothing in my life. I've been trying to live this way where there's nothing in my life that I feel like shame with. I have things that are private that I've done that I not super proud of, that I'm not excited about, but I don't feel shame for them because I thought through the decisions that I've made, and they are what they are. But just because something is private, doesn't mean you necessarily have secrets from people. So, for example, there are things that there's just certain people have the permission in my life to know them, and there are other people that don't have that position in my life or need to have that position in my life. And that's what vulnerability is all about. Boundaries. Boundaries. That was a huge lesson for me. Boundaries. But you don't need to necessarily keep secrets, because with secrets, a lot of times comes shame, and you shouldn't have shame for your experiences. So, and there's more on that in Brene Brown, and she gives a much beautiful, better explanation. But yeah, so privacy, not secrecy. I wanted to go a little deeper on that. I'll have to keep thinking about it, but um, that was big. Just getting to the point in your life where you're comfortable with the decisions you're making, and even if everything was out in the open, it's still be good. I really want to go somewhere with that boy, but I'm gonna think about it. Um, oh yeah, so let me tell you how I got to that point. So when I was in college, I became pregnant. Like I don't know if I've said it on here, but I became pregnant with my daughter in college, and it became this really shameful thing. I actually ended up hiding it. Actually, it was more the shame the boyfriend I had at the time, or I think we had broken up by then, but he had a lot of shame with it. And so I took on a lot of his shame in that relationship, a lot of his shame. And I just kind of kept my pregnancy a secret. And then I had her. And it was like a weight lifted because I was just not a secret anymore. But all the shame and all the secrecy, I realized, what was the point of all this? It was the biggest thing in my life to happen. Um, being Christian and having the Christian principles of waiting for marriage and all this. Um, but it happened, and it was something I overcame. And after that, I kind of realized that's how I wanted to live my life. Is things happen, you make decisions. Sometimes they're not the best decisions. Sometimes they're beautiful. She's definitely one of the most beautiful parts of my life. And through that, I learned so much about not keeping secrets, not keeping shame. And it was one of those breaking point moments. It was definitely one of the things I consider the lowest point in my life. And it was the lowest point in my life mainly because of the secrecy of it and the shame of it. And now I wish I could go back. I'm like, oh, there's so much I could have done and really experience the beauty of it, of motherhood and pregnancy. It's such a gift. But it was definitely a breaking point, and it broke me. And sometimes I feel like when you get broken, you learn so much. I learned so much through that breaking about shame and vulnerability, and I learned that it was okay. It was okay. So yeah, things work out. Who's the next one? Tie up loose ends. Do everything fully. So even if it's just something like as simple as at the grocery store, putting your cart away correctly. So little things may not seem correct, but maybe you'll prevent a cart rolling down the street and hitting someone's car. I don't know. Just doing things, tying up loose ends, doing things fully. Um, 15, take care of yourself. Um, Whether that's, not being afraid to go professionals, going to therapy. I mean, especially in the Black community, sometimes there's such a stigma to it, but it can be so beautiful. Getting professionals, going to the doctor. Sometimes it's scary to get tests run, but it is so important to take care of yourself. Eating right, exercising. Um, 17, stop proving yourself. Be yourself. Proving yourself is trying to live up to others' expectations that you are not enough. So when you're trying to prove yourself, I have so much to prove. I read a book. I'm reading a book now. It's called the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and she said, "Never beware of men that have something to prove. Beware of men that have something to prove." And I love that line, and that's something I truly believe. Like, you shouldn't have to prove yourself to people. Just be yourself. Be who you are, and that's enough. When you have to prove something, it's showing that you fundamentally feel like you're lacking, or you're accepting the lack someone else is placing upon you. So you don't need to prove anything. You just need to do your best and be your best version of yourself. Oh, number 18. Big one. Big pet peeve. You're not crazy. Speaking to my women out there, this was a really big thing for me. For men, when they would get upset or whatever, they would belittle me by saying, "You're so crazy." Like, and I would try and go with my intuition, and I would feel like, that doesn't feel right. Or, that was always the way a lot of men belittle women. Next to black women being called angry. Oh, she's so angry. She broke her neck. She's so angry black woman and crazy woman in general. Even so much as, back in the day, they said the woman had the wandering womb, where she was crazy, hormonal, whatever. It's just always a way to belittle women, and I hate that. Hate to hate, but it was just always kind of a way to throw it in your face, like, oh, something must be wrong with you. Um, no, so no, you're not crazy. It's such a sexist thing. It's such a sexist thing. What's the next one? Follow your intuition. Like I said, follow your intuition. Number 20, don't let other people tell you who you are or who to define you. This was a huge one. I'm 21. You don't have to date. I'm sorry if the numbering is crazy on this, but you don't have to date. Single is good. Like, you don't have to date. There's nothing wrong with you if you're not dating. You're fine. You don't have to be in a relationship. You're good. Society tells women in particular, like, if you don't have a man, like, I've had two guys, like, one guy this year, this guy came to me and was like, I'm so surprised you're not in a relationship. You are so nice. You're so pretty. How are you not in a relationship? As if me not being in a relationship somehow means I'm less valuable. Like, it was weird. And when the other guy said, you must be crazy. You have to be crazy. It was the most insulting. He was like, you have to be crazy. There's no way you're single. Why are you single? Why doesn't someone want you? That's basically what they're saying. Why doesn't someone want you? Because in order to have value, a man has to want you. And if you're single, no one wants you. That's not true. None of that is true. That's like the worst SAT question of reasoning. That's not good reasoning. A does not always equal B equals C. No. That's bad reasoning right there. But to each his own. Because what was I gonna say? Like, I'm trying not to step ahead too much, but it looks like it's happening. Yeah. So your value does not wrestle for man. So, like, it kind of puts us in the assumption that everybody that's married is a good catch, and everybody that's single is, and that's not the case. Because some of y'all got some bad husbands, some of you got some bad wives. It's not about that. Just because someone's in a relationship doesn't make them of more worth, and that took forever for me to get. Like, a society tells us that. Let's see, what else? Oh yes. And so when I say your value doesn't wrestle for man, so much so that when men would approach me and I was not interested in them, I'd always say, oh, I have a boyfriend. I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend. And I was so loyal to this imaginary boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. I'm sorry. And they'd be like, oh, your boyfriend don't let you have friends? That changed it for me. I was like, what you mean? My boyfriend don't let me? My fake boyfriend doesn't let me? You have to be like, no, I don't want to disrespect him. I'm like, why can't I just say, as a woman, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate you showing interest, but I'm just not interested. But thank you. Like, why isn't my decision not to want you okay? That's okay in itself. Why do I have to validate me not wanting you based on, and it's not even me not wanting you, but me not wanting to pursue something with you based on a man, an imaginary man at that. So I don't say that anymore. I had to stop that. That was reinforcing patriarchy. Especially when especially when they're like, he won't allow you to have friends. Like, ooh. So no. You don't need an image. You don't need a persona.